Hi, it's Jennifer Evans with Empowering Wellness Counseling Solutions, and we've got an action-packed week for you. We are doing grief this week, and I know grief is like, oh, that's so depressing. Well, it's literally a stage of it. But we've got a lot of great things, and we're going to talk about grief beyond loss, and there's some great things that we are looking at when it comes to what grief is and what grief isn't. Grief is us moving on and finding new ways. So we can grieve the loss of jobs, we can grieve relationships. There's so much beyond just the loss of life and death. Where grief, we're looking at it every single day and not even realizing we're in a bereaved state. So this week we've got grief beyond loss and changes and understanding the grief response. We have attachment and how this reflects in loss and change. We have healing our familial wounds. So looking at our past and the capacity our family has. We put a lot of stress on our parents to be perfect, and best thing we can do is really understand that they are only human. And then how to grieve in increments. How do you hold space for yourself? As always, I've got key steps to live a happier and healthier life workbook. Get it on Amazon. It's dropped in the video description, as well as saying goodbye to bad brain, which has a lot of these principles in a more neuroscience-based format. You can also go to my website. I've got lots of blogs. After each one of these videos, there's going to be a free resource that you can access on my blog. I look forward to talking with you and hearing from you. Please hit that subscribe button and like and comment. I am here to support you. Jennifer Evans with Empowering Wellness Counseling Solutions. Hi, it's Jennifer Evans with Empowering Wellness Counseling Solutions, and we are talking about finding your 15, how to grieve in increments. So we've talked all week about what grief is, what grief isn't, and how we have these grief moments beyond death in our lives every single day. And when we can have that grief, then we really can have the personal growth that we need to be able to find the success, because trauma will hold us back. And so the more that we grieve, the more that we let go of all that shame and guilt that's holding us into our traumas. And so we do this with being able to take emotional pauses and just setting a timer for 15 minutes to have our emotional space, whatever that is. Sometimes it's for grief, sometimes it's for stress management, sometimes it's for just having that moment for ourselves, that implicit valuing that we need. But when we take these small pockets of time to really connect with ourselves, we're doing a lot to be able to implicitly value, know that we have capacity, learn how to have emotional resiliency, learn how to find our prefrontal cortex, that action-oriented decision making, and it allows us to really develop success. And what we found, and you can go back to the bad brain video, there's a lot of videos that you can go back to, really just choose one, that looks at the brain and the science behind success. And it all comes down to, if you don't regulate your emotion, it will regulate you. If you don't own that space will own you. And so how we build emotional resilience is through micro practices. And these micro practices, we're talking 15 minutes. You can start at 5, you can start at 30 seconds. I highly recommend, if you start meditating, start at 30-second increments. These are not big things, but what it does is it allows you to start habit stacking and to get into a pattern of sitting still with yourself and being aware without judgment and just accepting your present for what it is. An emotional resiliency micro practice is starting with just something as simple as meditation. And then it builds into just understanding your emotions and allowing you to have those emotions and saying that you are worthy and building your own self into a validating environment for your emotion. And that'll allow you to then be vulnerable and bring other people into validating environments with your emotions. So it starts off very, very small, but if you stay connected to it, you will see how it can incrementally grow very significantly by just doing one little 15-minute practice a day. When it comes to stress, which is what will kick off a lot of the emotions, as we said, that's up in the amygdala, and it just opens up all of our past and allows us to have our past live in our present. If we can utilize the fight, flight, or freeze, which is happening when stress kicks off, fight, flight, or freeze is right there. Harness it, own it. If you can own it, and we talked about emotional regulation a couple weeks ago, this is a good time to go back about 10 videos and look at emotional regulation. I'll put links in the video description about how to maximize on stress management and the science of stress management. But transforming stress into focused energy. So awareness, I am stressed out. Acceptance, I've got a huge paper due tomorrow. Of course I'm stressed out. Action, I'm going to take all of this, and instead of going into the what ifs and the shoulda couldas and avoiding through cleaning my room, instead of writing this paper, I'm just going to head down and get it done. I'm going to take that stress, I'm going to use it for good. Fight. I'm going to use it for good, and I'm going to get this done. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow the positive cycle to start building. And we talked about the positive cycle and breaking those cycles last week. So go and look at those videos about building the positive cycles, about 5 videos ago. And then we look at the sustainability of success, and stress. The thing is that when we have a sense of perfectionism, we will burn out. And so what we're trying to do is find balance. We accept where our capacity is, and we find balance amongst that capacity. So we don't need to do everything, we don't need to do nothing. We want to have achievement, not necessarily to-do lists. We want achievements. We want to achieve a few things versus not achieving a bunch of things, of intentions. So you want to have these success-oriented goals, and that will help you to not feel burned out, but to feel like you have so much capacity to do so much more. And the more that you connect with yourself, the more decisions that you make, the more confidence you have with the decisions that you're making, the more self-aware you become, the more that you want to ingratiate others and become a mentor to others, the more that you regulate your emotions. And that is a big part of the neurology of success, is creating this place where we are self-aware, we are taking moments just to be in that space, we are owning the space, we're not letting the space own us. Having that awareness of whether or not you own a space or a space own you is a very big part. Somatic therapy really dives into that. So if that's something that you want to explore, I do somatic therapy, so please reach out to me, or you can go find somebody else if you want to be in person to do somatic therapy. And it's all about the bubble and you owning the space around you. And when we have trauma or anxiety or depression, we close ourselves off, we become very, very tight, and it feels very uncomfortable when there's a large open space and you feel constricted. And so it's really owning your space around you. And we want to do this through finding atomic habits. So you can go back to the video way at the very beginning and learn about atomic habits. And even though we have multiple things that are going in our lives, if we can just take a small 15-minute segment to incrementally find emotional awareness, to find grief, then what we're doing is we're not allowing it to encapsulate our entire life, but we're saying, you know what, this isn't the time. I've got to work. I can't worry about this breakup. I can't worry about, taking care of my aging parents. I can't worry about, the anxiety of parenting. I can't worry about this now. But what I do is I take time to journal, to find gratitude, and I have this little micro ritual that every night before bed, when I am no longer doing screen time, because I take 2 hours without screen time, so I can let my mind come down, let my mind rest so I can recover, then that's the time that I take for this emotional resiliency building. And I'm finding all of it. I'm putting my grief out there, I'm setting a timer and letting myself have these moments. I'm letting myself have anger, I'm letting myself have depression, I'm letting myself bargain, I'm letting myself deny, I'm letting myself have acceptance. I'm allowing myself and saying I am worthy to have these. I am allowed to have these. And I'm giving myself that space so that I don't feel crunched up in a very large warehouse, but I feel like I've made the whole space my home. I am Jennifer Evans with Empowering Wellness Counseling Solutions. If you like this, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. And I do encourage you to go into the video description. I've got a lot of great articles connected to my website and my blog that you can get more information. Thank you so much.